I was not used to racing men because women, I feel like we're just in the pool, we get up, we're ready. But guys will like dive to the flag, swim around a little bit, and I'm like just sitting there with my hands up for so long. My arms start to get tired, and then my feet aren't in the right spot. And then they said, take your marks. My foot just went straight down. It was so annoying.
Welcome to Social Kick. I'm Brian Lundquist. We got the full crew, Dr. John Mullen, Luke Paddington, and Katharine Berkoff. What's going on, Katharine? How are you?
Hey.
Oh, nothing much. Just chilling.
What's been going on this weekend? Sounds like you've had some social funtivities.
Yeah, I was at a wedding last night, so I kind of lost my voice naturally. But yeah, so I feel like I'm fine though. Yeah, it was fun though. It's a good time.
How did you lose your voice? Is it like in saying no, protesting, or partying? Explain.
Yeah, I was protesting the wedding. Yeah, I was trying to stop. Then when listen though, so I yelled really loud and a lot.
I figured.
Yeah.
Did you get in there and catch the garter belt or whatever? The bouquet?
No, I dodged it like a dodgeball. I was like ducking.
Wait, hold on. Were you actually in the crowd? Did you get out there?
Yeah, we were. It was a pretty small wedding, but they had a band, and it was like really. It was just kind of fun and small, and everyone was dancing. It was a good time.
The strap is so loose on me. I don't have the raccoon eyes after swimming when I'm finished. And look at me, I'm wearing them right now, and I hardly know they're on. They last so long. I've had them on now. These are 3 years old. I've worn these a lot in sun and in chlorine, and nothing's changed about them. And it's not fogged up. If I wore regular goggles that was 3 years old, this would be fogged up right now talking to you.
So you can support Social Kick directly by picking up a pair of Magic 5 goggles using our affiliate link. Go to themagic5.com/socialkick. Well, what's going on right now? How's training going? What you up to? It's kind of an interesting time for you're entering your last season and you've decided to still race for the team this year. Is that right?
Yeah. This
Nice.
is my 5th year.
Cool. How's that going? Tell us about like the decision behind that to take the 5th year.
Really, there was no there was no second thought. As soon as I heard 5th year was an option, that was what I wanted to do. I think college swimming is so fun, and I really love my team. So I might as well just keep working with something that really works for me. And I do want to swim professionally after college for a while. I don't know how long because I still have a lot of juice left there, I guess. But yeah, I think really there was no second thought. I just knew for a fact 5th year was what I wanted to do.
We see this in other sports with particularly like commercially marketable sports, basketball, football, where like athletes in college really are making a decision, like a financial decision about, do I go pro? Do I not? And it's pretty rare for that to happen in swimming, although there have been some cases of it. Like in my era, I remember that Aaron Pearsall only swam for, I think 2 years at Texas and then went pro. And there were like a few others kind of like that throughout. I think Ledecky only, 2. And then she's clearly, missing out on some big money if she, continues to race in college. Obviously, there's other things that relate to that decision, like what's the right training environment and format and what's my lifestyle like. But when you go through that decision, you said it was automatic for you. Do you feel like there's anything that you're giving up or missing out on financially by, going the college/NIL route for the next year and like putting off being like true pro?
Yeah, I do. Although since I wasn't like a world record holder in high school, so I think it would just be harder for me to make as much as some of them, So I'm not missing out on quite as much as someone like that was really crazy fast in high school. But I do think I am missing some opportunities. But I want to swim for a long time after college, and so I feel no rush to get started. And I part of me worries about the transition from college swimming to pro swimming So I just want to be like really careful about that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to give up college swimming yet. And I'd rather just keep doing what makes me happy. And I wanted to get a master's, so it's that's like kind of a financial decision, I guess. I get 1 year of it paid for, which is nice.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge piece of it too. I'm curious, like, can you just talk us through what the rules are right now? Because I'm not that close to it, and I've heard some of it, but like, what can you accept under NIL? And when you look at like what you might be giving up, how does that not? What sorts of opportunities would be like against the rules today? What's allowed? What's not allowed in terms of sponsorship and NIL, from your understanding?
I really feel like I'm the type of person that knows nothing about anything like this, but I think like with the prize money from World Championships, I'm pretty sure Arena gives me some, but I can't like get it unless I do appearances because I have to be doing work to get money. So they can't just like give me prize money because I went fast. It's like they need to give you prize money because you did something for them. And that's like the NIL rule. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Like you can't even, one thing they always tell us is like if Chipotle wants to give you like a free burrito because you're an athlete, you can't accept that. It's technically illegal because they can't just give you something because you're an athlete. It's just stuff like that. I mean, and obviously there's bigger opportunities, not just a free Chipotle burrito, but like I really am not the person that knows that sort of thing, which, not the best quality to have, but that's just how I am right now.
I don't think many Americans know that in Canada, we get to swim 5 years in college. So a lot of swimmers can do their undergrad in the States and go to Canada and do their master's or postgrad and then swim and get another year of swimming basically paid for you at that level, which I think is really, really important because a lot of times once college is done, an average swimmer like myself, there's no way I could have supported myself swimming-wise. I had to start, paying for myself. And how do you travel to meets and clubs and stuff? So 5 years of college swimming helps prolong that career. And after that, it's really hard to sustain yourself a year or two later, So it's a good point. I wish more Americans knew they can go to Canada and do a master's degree that's really cheap and swim an extra year.
Yeah, that's really cool. I actually had no idea about that either.
Yeah.
That's fun though.
It's fun. And, and Canadian swimming is not that bad, guys. It's okay.
Yeah, whatever you say. Go Redbirds, right?
Go Redbirds. What do you mean?
So, Katherine, we hear a lot about the NC State men's team and, God, they do the diamonds on the chest, do all these different things. But like you said, when it was the decision to come back for your 5th year, you said it was a no-brainer. Could you talk more about, I don't know, the dynamics of the women's NC State team? And I don't know if you guys have any other traditions of body paint and different things like that.
Yeah. So the men's diamond thing, that's their little tradition. It's a secret. The women can't know about it, but I think it's kind of funny that they like have their little thing. So but we're really close with the men's team. But we do have our own little traditions. We write the heartbeat on our wrist before meets. And just that's a cute little thing we do at meets. But I mean, I just think our team is very good at being super cohesive, like between the men and the women. And then the women just get along really well. I just think we have a great thing going for our team dynamic right now. I really like, especially where we're at right now in this year. So it makes me excited to see what everyone can accomplish. And I think since we did graduate a good bit of studs last year, big helpful points, it's going to help force people to step up. So I think that'll be fun to see new people improving. And I just think getting that opportunity to show yourself on those relays kind of gives people the chance to do something special that they wouldn't have if they didn't get that opportunity.
It reminds me of a question I want to ask you. you had a damn good NCs. But you still got 3 runners up. I'm sure you weren't fully happy with what's going on. Is that part of your fire to come back? Like, listen, I saw you on the podium, and I saw you're like, you know what, I should be there, not here. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just put too much pressure on myself. So especially winning the 100 back 2 years in a row, just the thought of not winning was horrible to me. And I knew I would either be extremely happy or devastated, which is totally ridiculous. But and now I realize that, and I think it was a really good thing for me to not win. I think it helped motivate me going into long course, because I was so done with short course at that point. I was ready to move on. And, we thought we did have a pretty good chance in that 200 medley if everyone was on. And so we were really excited that first day, and it was kind of hard when we didn't get it, because obviously we're not shooting for second. So, yeah, getting 3 runner-ups was kind of tough. But, I mean, really still pretty good. Can't complain too much. And looking back, it's not sore feelings about it anymore. But, I mean, during that meet, I was pretty devastated, not going to lie. So it took a lot for me to turn around and fix my emotions. But, yeah, I mean, last year was just a hard year. We had a lot of illness going around the team. And I don't think that's everything going into NCAAs. Training was affected because of how sick I got in the fall. But that wasn't the sole cause of what happened. I think it was just very emotional too.
What do you need to do next year besides not get sick? What you decided?
I think it's just strengthening my mental game. Now going into this year, I feel like the pressure's off me. I identified way too much with a couple small accomplishments in my career. And I think when I didn't win, it was I felt kind of lost it for a little bit. And then I realized that's just stupid and it's just a race. And so I think just kind of letting go of what place I get and just trying to do the best that I can do is something that's been really helpful, especially this summer. And I think I'm just going to try and take that into this short course and keep that mindset, because it's easy to get back into that negative one. But just try and stay positive and focus on myself.
But that's interesting to me personally. I don't gather you as a negative mindset person at all. You the opposite. You always are goofy and funny and have a really good sense of humor, it seems. And like you on the podium and your teammates, you guys were making the funniest things with the trophies and messing around. And, you're really making fun and enjoying the moment. And it seems like that. Yeah, behind the blocks, I do see a different Katherine. But, you do seem to try to enjoy the moment. So is that a deliberate thing? Is that your personality? Is that your team's working to chill out, let's have fun and have a laugh?
Yeah, a lot of my friends, we're just kind of fun and silly, I guess. But, I would say I'm generally pretty relaxed and like to have fun. But I get so nervous sometimes. But honestly, I do kind of feel like I've moved on from that. Really this past summer, I barely got nervous before my races. I mean, I can think of a few where I was really nervous, but the rest I felt really relaxed. So I think just having fun really helps keep me relaxed. And me and my teammates are really good at feeding off of each other with the fun energy. And we just like to do stupid things and look dumb on the podium.
I love it.
Swimming needs more of that. Hey, what do you look at with the events that you swim? And maybe this answer is different by a different format, whether it's short or long course. But what are the things that you feel like are the biggest opportunities for you to improve, and maybe are where there are some of the greatest weaknesses in your races? I know, for example, when I'd swim, I discovered backstroke late. I was primarily a freestyle and butterflyer, and then found the 100 back late and ended up making a 100 back final at NC's my senior year. But to condition for that last wall, for example, is just stupid hard to stay underwater for that long and keep the same undulation and power. What are the things for you race wise that you're like, okay, like if I can figure that out or focus on that, it's really going to change just like, performance at the end of the day. If you've been listening to Social Kick for a while, you know that we haven't been doing ad reads on this show. But as we've grown, we want to create more Social Kick content, and we want to do so by partnering with the right brands that we actually believe make good products. Well, we found one with the Magic 5. We love this product, and we're happy to partner with the Magic 5. Go to themagic5.com/socialkick.
I don't know why, but I feel like my details are just kind of bad. Like sometimes my start's on and sometimes it's just like not good at all. It's very inconsistent, but I think generally when I'm tapered, it's usually pretty good. So if I can like nail my start and nail my turn timing, I feel like my race will be good. I typically feel like I know how to race well once I'm swimming and underwater and stuff. It's just those like turns and starts that I can kind of struggle with. But especially long course, I think my switch this year was just kind of learning how to race the 100 right. I mean, before I would just either go out too hard and die or just not go out hard enough. It was just messing around with my race strategy. So now that I feel like I kind of nailed that down, it's more getting those details. Especially, I feel like at Worlds, my start was kind of off. I think I was just kind of tired, though, to be honest. But like towards the end of the meet. So I think if I can just nail that start and those turns, I know I'll have a decent race at least.
When you're talking about nailing the start, I know when I swam, I had just like a feeling on the entry, not on backstroke, but just like coming off the block, and I could just tell, I'm hitting it really well, like that it's minimal splash, and it was a great entry. Is that something you're going for, or are you looking for like a 0 to 15 meter time? How do you know when that start is on, maybe in warm-ups? And if it's not in warm-ups, what's kind of going through your head, or what are some last minute things that you have found to maybe help it?
Yeah, I think just I'm trying to clear my feet from the water pretty well. And then also just the angle that I'm entering, trying not to go too deep, but also not just super shallow. Yeah, it's more a feeling-based thing for me.
You know, one of the things I always feel like is kind of tricky with details, and it reminded me of like some experience that I had, because like I would taper really well, but I swam pretty slow in season, and it made things like the details and the stroke count, even practicing relay starts are different from like not being tapered to tapered. It's like the swimmer's coming in so much faster because they're fresh, and you can compensate for things like that in training by pulling somebody in on a stretch cord. But it does make it difficult to like simulate race feel, race pacing when you're suited, rested, fresh versus in season. And I think like lately in the last few years, we started to see, obviously you're part of like some meets with racing in suits in season and dual meets and incorporating a lot more race feel into the daily training. Is there anything that like you do or that you guys do in your program, or also like opportunities that you look at with some of the examples you gave about details and trying to nail those with dead legs, for example, anywhere that you can kind of like use equipment or technology to kind of help you practice that in season?
Well, what you were saying about feeling dead in season and just it's hard to replicate how it feels when you're tapered, I so hardcore relate to that. Like I just think taper is what makes a difference for me. Like in my legs, I just need it. But yeah, I think something we've kind of struggled with was our blocks, but we're getting new blocks. So, and they should be getting here really soon, actually. So I think that will help. I can just like practice backstroke starts better with having blocks that they'll be using at big time meets like trials and worlds.
What's different about them? So yeah, what's different about them?
They're old, like just our backstroke bar. It's a little outdated, but we're getting new ones. So if anyone's watching this and thinking about coming to NC State, we got new blocks coming on the way. So you should come. But
The coach is okay, the swimmer's okay, the program's okay, but it's the blocks.
The blocks are great. Yeah. No, but it's just I think one thing NC State's very good at is racing tired. Like I feel like we're just very good at learning how to race tired. And I mean, it's something we do it all the time in practice and meets. So I feel like we really do practice our details a lot. And sometimes it's just hard when you're so tired. It's just, you can't replicate how it feels in a meet. But I mean, with the relay starts, sometimes we'll wear fins when we're swimming in just to try and make it closer to what it would be in a race. But I just think the coaches, I don't know, I believe in all of them. So I think they know what they're doing, but I think we're all, for the most part, everyone on the team is pretty good with the details. That's more of a personal struggle for me. Yeah.
You mentioned being just exhausted at Worlds or just being tired. Was that just the length of the meet, you think, or just the length of the season kind of catching up to you? I know there was some chatter online about like, God, why do we have semis of the 200s at this meet? Like, come on. Like, it's pretty much like so much. And I know you weren't doing the 200s, but it just stretches that meet out so long, right? And it's such an emotional roller coaster. Maybe what are your thoughts on maybe why you were feeling that way?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Training short course, like the way I train short course is just very different from long course. And I think the way we train short course for probably most college teams is just so built to do 14 races. Like, you're racing so much at NCAA, so you have to be ready to last a really long time in a meet. But for something like Worlds, it's not quite the same. So I do think I might fatigue a little more long course towards the end of the meet. And I don't think that's like super common for me, long course. I think just this year, for some reason, after the 100 back, I got really tired. And sometimes you can't really explain why it happens, but I don't know. A flip switched after, and actually, I think I know it. I think now I'm working, the cogs are turning. But I think what happened is I put so much time and like emotion and energy into the 100 back that like once it's over, whether I want to or not, like I'm kind of checking out. My body's like, you're done, you did it. So by the time that 50 back happened, I was like, oh, well, the main course is done. Like, I'm good now. I can just chill. But wasn't the case. Wasn't ready to chill.
So is the 50 back not a real event? What are you trying to say here?
I wish if it was at the Olympics, I think I would care a lot more about it. But I think the way I think about it helps it for me because I just put no pressure on it. Since you don't have to think. As long as you nail your details, you're good. And if my details aren't there, it's going to be harder. And that's just kind of how it was. So I was like, well, just going to try and have a good time.
I got a question about some pressure we may face at Worlds. So when we swam and we made a finals, we got to choose our walkout song. And there was some pressure in that, right? Because everybody has to hear your walkout song.
Well, to be clear, when Luke swam, he got to do that.
And wait, you had to be like the top seed. So did you ever get to pick your song?
I'm in Canada.
Oh, okay.
This is all hypothetical.
Yeah. Let me get to my story. Talk to me. Now you have a video wall behind the blocks where you see yourself as you walk on, you see yourself doing your pose. Talk us through that. Does everybody who competes at Worlds have to go to a media day and record themselves, even if they're like me and have no chance of hell of getting a second swim unless it's a warm down? And how do you decide what you're going to do and where it's going to play? Talk us through that whole process of recording yourself for that video wall and the pressure you must be under or not.
Well, I guess technically you don't have to do it, but I think if you didn't, there would just be like a blank screen behind you when you walk out. Yeah. So you want to do it. And I think they're so fun and cool. But yeah, at least I feel like USA Swimming takes such good care of their athletes when we travel. Like, they're making sure everyone's doing one. So at least with the US, they're like telling everyone to go do it. Even if you feel like you don't have a chance. But yeah, I mean, for me, I have a fake tooth. I feel like that's pretty well known at this point. So yeah, right there.
How did you get there? Talk to us about this.
How did I lose my
The
tooth?
whole world saw this, like international TV. You're walking out and you see yourself, and you're like, "Yeah, that's me." Talk
Yeah.
about
I just think it's funny. Like,
it's funny.
yeah, I don't know what else I would do for a walkout video. Like, I'm not the type of person that can really take that super seriously. So I felt like it was just the easiest option, just to take out my tooth and like bite my lip or something.
Awesome.
I didn't know they were gonna show the bite my lip clip the whole walkout.
Exactly. That's the danger.
Yeah, that was definitely the least flattering part of the video, and they really liked it. So that was a surprise, but I thought it was pretty funny. And everyone told me they loved it, so I'll do it again. I'll do it next year, the year after. I don't care.
Hey, what are the rules? What are the no rules? What do they tell you can't do?
You basically just have to. They have like this camera set up, and they have a little X. It's like school pictures. They're like, stand on the X, but then they're like, you can do whatever you want. Just stay there and look at the camera. And they like really want to make sure you're looking at that camera. Because even when I was looking at it, they were telling me to look at it. So I was like, okay, well, but yeah, I mean, you can really do whatever you want. I guess maybe don't like do anything offensive, but yeah, I guess they didn't think my tooth was offensive, so that's good.
What would you do, Brian?
I don't know. I just feel like you got to give some sort of flex, maybe. Or
You go.
actually, I did a similar thing for my ski pass this year. I think my ski pass, truthfully, looked pretty well. It's the same idea, but I think I was just doing some like kind of weird, funny face on the ski pass. But that's the only example that I have, because we didn't do the crazy video for walkouts. Which I think is a cool evolution to how we introduce people in swimming now. But I mean, Katherine, what else do you think like could take an event like the Swimming World Championships to the next level?
I thought last year how they did the walkouts was a little more cool, like more fan oriented. I like when they turn all the lights off and like have these like cool disco lights going, and they got the music. And I feel it almost, I don't remember who I was talking to, but I said it feels kind of like you're in like a video game, and we're a bunch of video game characters being introduced for like a race, and it's like choose your racer type vibe. So I really like that they do that one person at a time, like with the intense walkout music. Yeah, so I think they do a great job with that. Maybe, more lasers, more smoke, I don't know, make us come out from the ground like they do at Olympic trials. Yeah, that could be cool.
I mean, more lasers is better for everything, right?
I always say add some more lasers.
Going back to the 90s, I had a massive beatbox, and I used to walk out this big thing, and it was a theme track to Mortal Kombat. And in soccer, they walk out holding a kid's hand, which is really nice as well. So you walk out of a kid's hand on soccer and go and like give them that experience. I think that'd be nice as well.
I really like that too. That sounds nice. It's grounding, to have a kid next to you. They're like, they don't know what's going on. This is just so relaxing now. Yeah.
I was watching the track and field worlds recently, and I always find it funny to compare swimming to other sports and like the format and the way things work. I don't understand why track takes 3 athletes to the worlds and the Olympics per event when when swimming only takes 2. Somebody tell us in the comments if you know what the answer to that is. I don't know if it's team size, but I also look at like the way that they advance through the heats or the rounds, as they say in track. where, you know, it's like based on competitors and you're just finishing top 3 rather than like every heat just doing purely time based. And the other one that I find kind of cool is or just different, and I notice, is the lane selection. But do you think it'd be cool if you could just choose your own lane? And if so, what lane would you choose? Would it always be the same one, like an outside lane in swimming?
Oh, wow. I've never really thought about that. I kind of like that they're assigned because that would just put too much pressure. I like that you can't control what other, I'm glad I can't pick. But I think if I could pick, I do like the center lanes. Although maybe the outside lanes are faster. I'm not really sure. I guess people would start looking into the science of it a little bit more if you could choose. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Unless you have a lucky number, lucky lane 6 or something. That comes on a superstition.
Yeah, I'd develop some sort of superstition about it.
Exactly. And then Brian, if you had in track, you have to finish top 3 to get the next round. But isn't backstroke a disadvantage? You have all these people looking like,
yeah.
top 3. It's really hard.
I don't know. I'm sure there's backstrokers that look around, but you only have an opportunity to do so really underwater. I don't know. Yeah, do you ever notice a competitor next to you, Katherine?
I feel like my shoulders, there's so much water right here. I never see anything next to me. Like the only time I'll see someone is if on a flip turn. But I kind of don't mind that. I feel like I don't typically use the people next to me to like do my race. I try to do it all on my own. Or else that would probably mess up my race strategy.
But should we introduce that in swimming? Should you be able to, in track, you can see your competitors, you can see the screen when you're running your time. Should we have a way for swimmers to see where they are in the race? Like there's mirrors up there, or there's a way for swimmers to know what the hell's going on?
Well, there have been backstrokers before that said they looked at the video board. Have you ever had a race like that?
Yeah, I try not to because I don't want to know. I don't like it just, yeah, I intentionally look the other direction. I'm like not looking at that. Yeah. Not for me. I always
thought it'd be cool if there was a clock in the pool and like more info in the pool. The fact that we've got still, I mean, lap counters are finally evolving some, but like the fact that there would be somebody sticking like a lap counter into the water all the time is just the dumbest thing. I think it's so ancient. Like the technology hasn't evolved. But like, I mean, even back to the track example, I was watching this world record attempt, a successful world record attempt from the Norwegian guy Jakob Ingebrigtsen for the 2K world record, and like they had all and track, they've got the dot system, like the lights that line the inside of the track to show them what the pace of the world record is. And like in swimming, you can't see that when you're in the pool. They just overlay the world record line on the coverage after the fact. But it'd be kind of sweet, especially for like events longer than 100, maybe where pacing is a little bit more of a strategy, like it might affect your race more to have more information. I think it'd be cool if there was like more info in the pool readily available to athletes, time, pacing. I don't really care about like the meters per second that they've shown in some of the coverage. Like that doesn't really matter to me, but I don't know. Yeah.
Brian, you have your coach going like this on the side. Isn't that good enough to know you're on pace? You're doing great.
Oh yeah. Katherine, what do we think about the headsets? Like a coach in the headset and like during a race?
Please tell me you hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of these, I don't see why it's not allowed. I feel like if it would help someone, why wouldn't you try to make something faster? It just doesn't really make sense to me. But I personally don't think I'd use any of these things, especially the headset thing. I think Braden would love that during practice, and he'd love it during a race too, because I think like a lot of time when I'm racing, Braden's just like so upset with my turn details and starts. He's like, especially at short or world champ trials, prelims, 100 backstroke, I could not swim straight to save my life. I don't know what was going on. That ceiling was really disorienting to me. But yeah, so I think Braden would love to tell me what to do when I'm racing, and it probably would help, but I don't know.
All right, 100 back at Worlds. You have your headset on. What's Braden telling you?
It's telling me to speed up into my turn, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Just not let my tempo slow down into that turn and not lift my head into it either. Not push off deep. It's lots of things.
I had a coach who I could just turn to the side and I just see him standing there. And if he just stood there and he had this symbol, I'm not going to explain what the symbol meant. He just stood there and looked at me. I was like, oh my God, I failed you tremendously. It meant something. Is there a symbol that he gives you? And, is he just go like this?
No, not really.
No.
I feel like my vision's not great. So I spend a lot of my time like just trying to squint and see what my time is and where I finished in the heat. So I'm like not really looking for Braden until my race is done. And I think he knows that. But yeah, I mean, not really. I feel like I usually know if I do something wrong and he knows that I know. So it's fine. We'll just talk about it after.
Have you ever had that be a source of conflict after a race where a coach, not specifically Braden, but where a coach was, like had given you explicit instructions to do something and like it didn't turn out that way, or like, there was just some like, I tried and I don't know, you got into an argument?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's really hard for me to do things right sometimes. Like, I don't know why. I know what I need to do, but just the time, I just can struggle with that timing. But yeah, I mean, I can't think of a direct example, but I'm sure throughout my whole career it's happened.
Sidebar, what would be the worst thing to happen to you in a race? Losing your goggles or missing the wall entirely on a turn?
Oh God, they're both so bad. But I almost think the wall would be worse because with your goggles off, you can still maybe do pretty well. But missing a turn, that's like a few seconds.
Have you ever had that happen?
A mile.
Oh God, yeah. No, I haven't. Well, I've had it happen a little bit, but nothing traumatizing. I've been next to people who have done it, and that's like, oh, I remember just like seeing it and like my heart dropping for that person. I'm like, oh, that sucks. But it's yeah, it's bad when it happens, but it hasn't happened to me in a devastating way since I was probably really young.
What advice can you give to keep straight in a long course 100 back, not hitting the ropes? What do you do?
I don't know, because I think I struggle. I don't know a lot of people that struggle like I do to swim straight. I'm wondering if it's my vision, like genuinely, I don't know what's up. But something that helps me is not thinking about it. I think sometimes I just think about it too much and then I like do a ping pong. But yeah, I mean, just kind of going mindless. I don't know how I do long course outside these days. So I'd probably just have to get on a lane line if I were to do that. But yeah, I don't know. Just trying, not thinking about it.
All right, I have one more variable. We had the goggles, the turn. How about the wedge moving or your foot slipping on the wall?
Yeah, that's probably right there with the turn. That actually happened at Worlds in the prelims mixed medley. For some reason, I don't know. Oh, I know what it was. I was not used to racing men because women, I feel like we're just in the pool, we get up, we're ready. But guys will like dive to the flag, swim around a little bit, and I'm like just sitting there with my hands up for so long. My arms start to get tired, and then my feet aren't in the right spot. And then they said, take your marks. My foot just went straight down. It was so annoying. But I mean, so I had to work extra hard that first 50, but I don't think it affected my time like too dramatically, but it made the race way harder than I expected it. So yeah, I know that one's really bad. Goggles is the best of those three.
Funny observation that men take longer and just have more prep, more of like a show to put on, like to get ready to do a start. Why do you think that is? You think it's dudes just got to flex?
Yeah, I think guys just like to get in each other's heads more. But I mean, there are definitely girls out there that want to do it too. So I'm like, now that the secret's out, maybe girls are gonna start doing this. So I gotta just take my time too. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of a lesson learned. I need to slow my process down because I don't want to be the first one ready and then waiting forever. Because I don't know, I just like to be ready really fast. But yeah, I mean, you can see it at women's versus men's NCAAs too. I'm sure you guys notice this, but it's very different watching the meets. Like women's NCAAs, everyone's like very chill and not being too obnoxious, but men's NCAAs, everyone's smacking themselves. They got chains and they're like, it's just ridiculous.
So what's going to be your strategy if you're in another mixed medley? Is it just get in the water a little later, or just waste some time before you grab the bar? What do you think is going to be the better strategy?
All of that. Like it took so long. Like I'm just going to have to do everything. I'm going to have to jump in slow. I'm not going to swim to the flags. That would like spike my cortisol. I would get real stressed doing that. Something about that doesn't sit right for me personally. But yeah, I'm going to have to take it slower next time. That is for sure.
So back to the men's NCs. What is the most ridiculous thing you think you've seen watching men's races? Like whether it's a backstroke entry or them doing something silly behind the block. And then what do you think is something that the guys think is silly that the women do?
Oh, this is such an easy answer for me, actually. I remember 2022 NCAAs, when Casper, my teammate, won. It was just the best reaction. I mean, if he wasn't on my team, I probably would be like, who is this guy? But since he's my team, I was like, everyone was screaming and going crazy. We loved it. Like how he jumped out, hopped on the blocks, and was flexing. Like that was just awesome. Like, can you imagine if a girl did that? That would be so cool. But yeah, I mean, that's me. That's me, regardless of my finish. I'm gonna do that this year. But yeah. But so that was probably the most ridiculous thing I've seen. And his walkout, like he just sat there and was like leaning back. Everyone else was ready, and it was just he looked like you just knew he was gonna win from the start. So it was really cool to watch that. And I know that what the guys like, just talking to my teammates, that like we all poke fun at each other for what we do before our races, and we'll talk about Casper's like ridiculous finish and celebration, and everyone loved it. But like the women, everyone's just like, and that's it. Like a little thumbs up and then nothing else. So that's like probably the most ridiculous thing that women do too. I feel like we're just maybe need to flare it up a bit.
I always appreciate it when there's a woman who hops on the lane rope and gives a flex.
Yeah.
You just don't see it that often. I had that experience too, because people hated my teammate Cesar Cielo. Everybody hated his post-race celebrations because they were over the top. But when it's your teammate who's winning races, you don't react to it like I liked it. But that's for me in general too. Like in sports in general, I've never liked a quiet champion. Like I want somebody who's going to celebrate it. And I always looked at somebody like Roger Federer, for example. It just seemed to me to be like the soft-spoken, like the gentleman. And I don't know. I want somebody to flex and celebrate and yell.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as long like I'm just gonna root for someone if I like them as a person, And I'd say I like majority of I don't know. I like everyone, but so when I see like someone that I like really love, like reacting in a crazy way, I'm like, it just fires me up. So yeah, I mean, those reactions are just the best.
You seldom see the opposite, like, God damn it, or crying, or like, is it loose? Like, we don't see that, do we? Like,
no,
you don't touch the wall and go, oh.
That would be so bad. That would be
good.
No, it would be really like, I think more people would watch swimming if we did that. Yeah, we just everyone needs to agree to put on a show.
Yeah, I mean on the tennis comparison, especially with the U.S. Open going on right now, like people will get angry and they smash a racket.
Yeah.
You don't see that in swimming where somebody just like rips a cap in half and then stands up.
Yeah, that's pretty funny though. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anyone I know doing that.
I wish though that there was like a way. I always like the conflict between tennis players and the chair umpire when there's like a call that they don't agree with and they come and argue it, and then usually it's like, it ends up being clipped in some sort of meme maybe. I wish that swimming could have that for protests. Like we've had, especially in the last year, a lot of controversy around rules and a lot of things being called. This past year it was the back to breast turn, and we've had like dolphin kicking and breaststroke and stuff like that where it just gets called a lot. But I'd love it if somebody got called and then you could just protest it, or just have that conflict in the moment on deck. That'd be way better for the sport, I think.
For sure.
Yeah, just like mic them up as the coaches go up and try to argue it. That would be awesome, just to kind of, I don't know,
like in baseball,
hear how they're saying it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about baseball, like you said, like you have umpires and managers like going out and arguing and yelling in their face and throwing bases. Imagine if like Durden or Braden or someone like right after someone got DQ'd just ran over to the official and just started screaming at him right in their face.
Yeah, I mean, I
would watch that for sure.
It'd be way better for the sport.
I would love to watch that.
If they wanted more people to watch, that would definitely work.
Is it because I guess tennis is a country club sport too. I was gonna say, is it because it's like a country club sport? Like you said, everyone's a gentleman. Oh, I love all my competitors. I respect everyone here. Is it just the sport's too much like that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think so. I guess, maybe swimmers are just more relaxed. Who knows?
Katherine, would you prefer to swim a really, really fun meet versus a really, really fast meet? So the best in the world versus a meet that's super fun in the events. Which would you? I mean, ideally you want both, right? But if you had a choice, come next week and swim in Jacksonville. It's a super fun meet, really different. Or 2 weeks from now we have the, world's final. I don't know what. It's a good question.
It depends how good I feel. If I'm like really feeling good, I want that fast meet,
Yeah.
But if I'm not feeling it, I probably don't want to race regardless. But yeah, I mean, it is so fun to feel good and then just feel like you're dominating, you're just like on fire. And I mean, at Worlds, not going to be the best in every event, that's for sure. So like, it is nice to have that time to shine. And I mean, I think that's kind of something I benefited from growing up in Montana. There's just not a lot it's just not nearly as competitive as other regions. So I felt like I really did get a lot of time to shine there.
Do you think we have to choose between a sport that I think about this comparison a lot, looking at swimming versus the way other sports operate, because we had a conversation with Cam McAvoy recently where he brought up some innovative ideas about the way to evolve swimming and to make it more competitive and to add fun elements into it. And it almost seems like usually when these things come up, there are things like ISL skins or like more rounds added to it and make it more competition based, but less like peak performance time based. And like I think there's swimming purists and people who have experienced like what you have in swimming with a big taper. It's like it's such a cool physiological thing that a lot of people don't ever experience in their life, where you can train really hard and then totally peak and you have this like almost out of body experience, like, whoa, that's so crazy what my body could do. But like that might be in conflict to what ultimately would make the sport really like the most fun to watch, because you could have more competitions at a high level. But how do you think you would perform given that you're somebody who like really tapers well, if the sport were to evolve into something where you just had to be like consistent throughout the season versus train peak?
I think if that were the case, I'd probably train a bit differently. Because I think when we're training in the fall and winter, the coaches are not concerned with how fast we're training, unless you're trying to like actually get a time or qualify for a meet. But otherwise, they're just more concerned that you're gonna prepare yourself best for the end of the season. So I think if we did more meets like that throughout the season, I probably would just train a little less, so I wouldn't be so broken down at those points. But I do think if I think I would really like something like that, maybe a mix of that sort of thing and tapering. And I don't necessarily care if I were to feel good in something like that, because we've done things like that before at the tier meets, the shootout 50s, and I thought that was so much fun. And it's not like it's super measurable, and like it doesn't really matter that much who wins. So it's more just a for fun thing. So I don't really care if I feel good. So I think they should incorporate that more into meets. I mean, obviously it's hard when you're trying to get race practice and like practice exactly what's going to happen at the Olympics to just fit in more of those sorts of competitions. But I feel like in off years, they might as well just have a little more fun with what they're doing at meets.
Talking about Paris, we're in the Olympic year. What's your plan for the next year? Are you going to be same as usual, yards, US Open or 2 long course, peak in March, then go back down again and peak for trials? Anything different? And are you practicing French every day?
Yes, all of the above. But I think I really think our coaches learn so much every year. I mean, every coach does. But I think I'm going to focus really heavily on long course this year, especially just going into trials. That's me and Braden have talked a lot. That's the focus of the year for sure. We've already been doing a lot of long course this year, and we will continue to throughout the season. But I told Braden too, I still care about NCAAs. This is my last one, and I want to do the best that I can and help the team the best I can and just leave on a really good note. So, yeah, really kind of business as usual, just more long course focus and make sure that really the main focus is Olympics and Olympic trials.
For sure.
All right, we got a few rapid fire questions and then we'll let you go, Katherine.
All right.
What's the hardest race in swimming?
I think the 4 a.m.
Olympic gold or world record?
World record.
Do you pee in the pool?
A lot.
This is the best underwater kicker of all time.
Oh my God. I don't know. There are so many people that are so good that I can think of. I mean, everyone talks about Caleb Dressel's. I think Gretchen's amazing underwater. I don't know. There are so many good people at underwaters. The list goes on.
What's an event that you never get to race because you have other priorities that are kind of the best events for you? What's an event that you would love to do if you had the opportunity, but you just don't get a chance to?
Probably the 200 free. I actually really like that race, and I haven't swam it in a meet for years, but I think I could have a good one if I gave it a go.
A 2 free 100 back double would be a brutal.
Definitely not one I'm gonna do ever.
What's the best nickname anyone's ever had in swimming?
Oh, I don't know. I can't even really think of any at this point in time.
What should yours be?
My Twitter handle is cat poop, so some people call me that. Yeah, I've got a few nicknames.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Laying a big cat poop out there again.
Yeah, that's a good one, obviously.
What's the best race you've ever seen in person?
Probably I feel like so many meets I haven't really focused a lot on the races I'm watching. I don't know why. It's kind of sometimes it's just I'm not really soaking it all in. But I think something that I thought was really cool from this past summer was watching the men's mile, just seeing two guys going at the world record so close each turn. Like that was just insane. That was really cool.
It's hard to beat a good mile. All right, what's the hardest event to make the U.S. Olympic team in?
I mean, I would say I'm slightly biased in this, but I think it's the 100 backstroke or 200 backstroke. And I mean, I'm biased, but also everyone does it. Like, I feel like everyone my age just decided to be a backstroker. Like, we all agreed. So I really do think it's very hard in backstrokes.
All right, last one. How often are we doing social kick at NC State?
Social kick? I'd say daily. Like, I mean, at least in cool down, I'm going to do some social kick. You know, I require my social kick time.
It should be required. Well, thank Braden and the rest of the staff for that. Katherine, thanks for hanging out. It's good to chat with you. I look forward to watching your race this year. And if you feel so inclined, just go ahead and race with the fake tooth out. You know, just fully commit to it. Not just the pre-race video, but we want to see you racing. Like giving the live camera that shot too, right behind the blocks.
Yeah, no, that I've thought about it. People have tried to get me to, maybe. But I did a practice without it once. I don't know why. It just messed me up so much. I was so distracted the whole time.
It needs to be gold. That's what it needs to be.
Yeah, I could get a grill. That would also be nice. Yeah.
Oh, back to the Lochte days when he had a grill.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll let you go. That's it for this episode of Social Kick. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're enjoying Social Kick, tell your friends about it. And be sure to tell us what you liked by leaving a comment and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Social Kick, and you can find all of our content on our website,